Dear students, welcome to the course Verilog Hardware Description Language. In the previous video, we have seen the parts of a simulation, design block and stimulus block with an example of a ripple carry counter. Okay, so that we have completed the module 1. Okay, so now in today's video, we will be beginning with the concepts of module 2. Okay, so in module 2, we'll be having two units, okay, called as unit 3 and unit 4 of the standard book Samir Palnetkar. So in basic concepts and modules and codes. Okay, so in basic concepts, so here we'll be looking at the futures of very long language. Okay, so when we say any language like English now, okay, or Kannada or Hindi, okay, any language, so if you have to learn, so what is required basically. Okay, so with same way, in the programming languages or a hardware description languages, what we require basically, so that we call it as here basic concepts. Okay, so there will be four parts we'll be learning this. So first we'll see the lexical conventions. Okay, so what and all the things, basic things required. Okay, so the keywords, okay, whatever we require, that we see. Then data types and system tasks and compiler directives. Okay, so what is meant by that, we'll look at their basic concepts. Discussed here the basic constructs and conventions used in the Verilog HDL. Okay, these conventions provide the necessary framework for Verilog HDL. Okay, so we are going to begin. So in the previous module you have learned about the overview of digital design and advantages of HDL and hierarchical design methodology. Okay, so parts of the Verilog, right, like module and end module, how you are writing. Now internal things, internals of the Verilog module, we are going to learn in this concept. Okay, so firstly, understand lexical conventions for operators, comments, okay, how we write white space, numbers, strings, and identifiers. Okay, we'll learn about this. Secondly, we'll learn about the logic value set. What are the logic value a Verilog HDL data type will support? And then we'll see the data types such as nets, registers, vectors, numbers, simulation time, arrays, parameters, memories, and strings. These are the different data types we are going through. Then we'll consider the useful system tasks for displaying and monitoring information and for stopping and finishing the simulation. Okay, some of the things we have used in previous example. Okay, but you know, don't know what is meant by that. So in this module, we are going to learn that. Okay, and then learn basic compiler directives to define macros and include files. Okay, so we'll see one by one. So in today's video, we will be looking at lexical conventions. The basic lexical conventions used by Verilog HDL are similar to those in the C programming language. Okay, so whatever I am discussing in this unit, it is completely what is there in the hardware description language reference manual for Verilog HDL. Okay, I could not change anything here. It is whatever is there. So, and this convention will be used throughout the world. Okay, it is a standard IEEE standard 1364. Okay, so first standard was 1995 and we are using here 2001, and there is a 2005 standard also. Okay, so this is a standard language. It will be used across the world wherever they are using Verilog HDL. So whatever you are learning it, so it is the same keyword followed everywhere. Okay, so we are learning a language, so welcome once again. Okay, so Verilog contains a stream of tokens. Okay, and the tokens can be a comments, delimiters, numbers, strings, identifiers, and keywords. Okay, so that we are going to take up in this lexical conventions. Okay, and one more key thing is Verilog HDL is a case sensitive language. Case sensitive in the sense, if you write a lower case, uppercase, it is a different meaning. Okay, so all keywords are in lower case. All the keywords what we use with respect to Verilog HDL, they are in lower case. If you write the same of that in uppercase, it is a different meaning. Okay, so remember this. So first lexical convention is white space. Okay, so for your easiness, all the things I have bolded it here in the slides, whichever I bolded. So these are the things you need to remember. Okay, so the blank spaces, okay, slash b, tab, slash t, and new line slash n comprise the white space. Any language it will be there. So normally in C program you have written slash n. Same way slash b slash t is also there in the Verilog HDL, which is similar to C language, right? White space is ignored by Verilog except when it separates tokens. Okay, so white space is normally ignored by all the compilers, same way Verilog also. And white space is not ignored in strings. So when you are writing a sequence of characters is called as strings, their white space is also counted as a one character. Okay, otherwise it is not considered. Okay, so this is about white space. Second thing, comments. Comments can be inserted in the code for readability and documentation. Okay, so as I told you, so you will be working in a semiconductor company, you are writing some big code for a complex machine or device. Okay, suddenly you got an offer from another company. Okay, you have written 1 year completely that code, but your pay was not good and you jump to another company. So now the company has to hire somebody who is experienced like you in that place, and he has to start continue that code, or he has to do some debugging in that code. So he could not start from the beginning, right? 1 year effort, 1 year cost is involved there, right? So he has to start from where you have started, and from there he has to move on. So that's why there is a normal practice in the industry that whatever you write, you will making as a documentation. Okay, and readability. Okay, that means comments are essential. So normally in VTU exams and all, wherever programming language comes, you may be writing just program and go away. Okay, but in industry it is not like that. So documentation is must and should. Okay, so there are two ways to write comments. A one line comment starts with double slash. Okay, Verilog skips from that point to the end of line. So wherever it looks at this, okay, so it will ignore that whatever after that. Okay, it is understand that it is a comment. Similarly, a multiple line comment, same as C program, starts with a slash star and ends with star hash. Okay, so this is a multiple line. Any number of line you can see. In the previous example also we have used this. Okay, hope you have observed. Multiple line comments cannot be nested. Okay, nesting we could not do. We have seen earlier also modules not be nested same way. So once you start with, you have to complete that. Okay, so nesting is not possible. However, one line comments can be embedded in multiple line comments. One line comments you can embed it. Okay, so just example is there, go through. A is equal to B and C. So this is, we'll see what is meant by that in operators. Okay, at present just you focus on the comment line. Okay, so this is a one line comment. Okay, one line comment. So this is a multiple line comment. Okay, so this is the thing. So this is illegal. Okay, so this is, okay, again star is there because it is begin, so it should end, but there is no end here, so it is illegal. Okay, and this is illegal comment. Okay, so inside the multiple line comment you have used a single line comment, you have embedded it. Okay, that is possible. Okay, so this is about the comments lexical convention. Next, we'll see the operators. We'll be seeing more detail in data flow description. Okay, just we'll introduce here what is operators. Operators are normally of three types: unary, binary, and ternary. Unary operators precede the operand. Okay, so it will be functioning on the single operand. In C programs also you have seen this. Then binary, nor most of the operators will appear between two operands, A plus B, A minus B. Okay, so there are two operands, in between operator comes, so that is binary. Okay, ternary. Ternary means three operators. Okay, have two separate operators that separate three operands. Okay, so three operands, it will be separated by three operands. Okay, so for example here, okay, A is not of B, so here only one operand it is working. So B is 0 means it will make 1 in case it is a unary operator, and B is the operand here. Okay, A equal to B and C. So and is a binary operator, B and C are the operands here. Okay, it is a binary example. Similarly, A equal to B question mark, C is to D. This is works like a ternary operator. So if B, that means B is 1, then C will be selected, B is 0, then D will be selected. Okay, so this both together is a ternary operator, and B, C, D are the three operands. Okay, and this value will be assigned to the A. Okay, like that. So this is about operators. Then number specification. So this is one of the very important thing in the Verilog HDL compared to other languages. Okay, so here you have to give more attention. Okay, so there are two types of number specification in Verilog. One is sized and unsized. Okay, so we'll look at each of them. Sized numbers are represented as, okay, so this is the syntax for sized numbers: size, then a apostrophe, base format, and then number. Okay, so size is written only in decimal and specifies the number of bits in the number. So here we are writing the actual number. Okay, so normal programming will write just this number. In Verilog HDL, these two will come additional. Okay, how many numbers? If it is having 10 numbers, so the number is 10 and it will be written in decimal. So then base format. Okay, so all the number system you have studied in digital electronics, so that will be mentioned here. Base formats as decimal, either you can use capital D or small d apostrophe d. If you use, it is a base format. That means this number is a decimal one. Hexadecimal, this number is a hexadecimal one. Binary by b. Okay, octal o. Okay, so you know this, what is meant by number system. Okay, the number is specified as consecutive digits from 0, 1, 2, 3 up to f based on binary. It is 0 and 1, decimal 0 to 9. Okay, then octal 0 to 7, and hexadecimal 0 to f. Right. So these are the digits we will be using in the number space. So only a subset of these digits is legal for a particular base. Okay, and uppercase letters are legal for number specification. Okay, so uppercase letter you can use for number specification. So this is the syntax. Now we'll see the example so it is clear to you. So here 4 bit 1111, this is the representation. 4 indicates the size of this number 4. Then this is the base format, binary number, and the value is 1111. So this is a 4 bit binary number. This is how we write. Similarly 12 hexadecimal ABC. Each hexadecimal number is of 4 bits, right? So 4 into 3, 12. So that's why 12 is the size. Then H is the base format hexadecimal, and ABC is the number. So this can be described as ABC is a 12-bit hexadecimal number. Understood? Same way 16D 255. Okay, so 255 is a decimal number. So if you write it in binary, you will have a 16 numbers. So that's why 16 is the size. Decimal base format 255, it is a 16-bit decimal number. So this is about the first variety, sized numbers. This is one additional things you will be seeing in Verilog HDL. Okay, then unsized numbers. Okay, so just numbers that are specified without a base format specification are decimal numbers by default. Okay, so if you does not mention any base format, okay, for example here this 255, just if you remove this base format and this 255, that is a unsized number. Okay, the numbers that are written without a size specification have a default number of bits that is simulator and machine specific. In case if you does not mention here, okay, so 12 you have not specified, just apostrophe HABC, you have not mentioned how many bit number, so then this will be taken as machine specific. If you are using a 32-bit Windows 32-bit machine, 64-bit or a 16-bit 8-bit, based on that number will be considered. Okay, so this book was written at the time of 32-bit Windows maybe, so 32 is considered. Present it will be 64. Okay, you can consider that. So example here, first one 2 3 4 5 6, this is a 32-bit decimal number by default. How you told 32-bit? Because it is machine specific. Okay, similarly here size is not mentioned, so this is a 32-bit hexadecimal number. 32-bit came from the default machine specific, and hexadecimal came from this base format. Okay, so if here base format is not mentioned, it is by default decimal number. Clear? And then O21 is a 32-bit octal number. Okay, so this 32-bit is a machine specific. If you are using 64-bit, you should remember that to mention. So this is about sized and unsized numbers. So then we will consider X or Z values. Okay, so as I mentioned, Verilog HDL is a hardware description language. So normally if you are writing a digital program or any program, so you'll have normally two values, either 0 and 1. But in digital circuits you will be having two additional values, X and Z. You already know this. Okay, in digital system design, X is for unknown and Z is for high impedance. Okay, so that is we are mentioning here. So Verilog has two symbols for unknown and high impedance values. These values are very important for modeling real circuits. An unknown value is denoted by an X and an high impedance value is denoted by Z. Okay, so if you consider the example same, size is 12, base format is hexadecimal 13x. Okay, so this is a 12-bit hex number. 4 least significant bits are unknown. Okay, 13 is known, x is unknown, 4 bits are unknown. Similarly here this is a 6-bit hex number. Okay, so it is unknown. So here this is a 32-bit high impedance number. Okay, so Z will be written, so it will be like that. So this is the third variety in number specification. An X or Z sets 4 bits for a number in the hexadecimal base, 3 bits for a number in the octal base, and a 1 bit for a number in the binary base. Okay, so when we are written here binary, it will be for, okay, 0 and 1. Okay, so number like that. Octal, it is 3 bits, right? 2 to the power 3, 2 to the power 4, like that. If the MSB of a number is 0, X or Z, the number is automatically extended to fill the most significant bits, respectively with 0, X or Z, MSB and LSB bits, right? So MSB, if it is 0, X or Z, the number is automatically extended. This makes it easy to assign X or Z to a whole vector. If the MSB is 1, then it's also 0 extended. Okay, so if you have 1, if it is 4 numbers, so 0 0 0 1, like that we are making, right? Or if it is right side MSB also, we can do that. Okay, so this is about the X or Z values. Then we'll consider the negative numbers. In case if you have a negative number, how we represent that in Verilog. Negative numbers can be specified by putting a minus sign before the size for a constant number. Okay, so size constants are always positive. It is illegal to have a minus sign between base format and number. So size, base format and number, it is the syntax. So you could not write in between base format and number. Okay, so you should start the, because since number is negative, but you need to write before size itself. Okay, so this is the convention. An optional signed specifier can be added for signed arithmetic. Okay, example here. So this is the minus 3 is the number here, but you have mentioned the minus sign here itself. Okay, it is an 8-bit negative number. Okay, stored as 2's complement of 3. So normally in the computers, minus 3 will be written as complement, right? So that's why it is 2's complement will be used. Then minus 6 SD3. Okay, so this is a signed specifier here. So this is what I signed arithmetic I told you. So this is used for performing signed integer math. That's why SD came here. Okay, so this is the minus 3 6-bit number. Okay, so that is stored like that, and this is illegal. Okay, so as I mentioned, between base format and number, sign should not come. So this is an illegal specification, just an example. Okay, so this is with respect to number specification in Verilog. Then finally we have some underscore characters and question marks also will be using for readability purpose. An underscore character is allowed anywhere in a number except the first character. You could not write it in the beginning, so in between you can write. Okay, for example, you have a binary number. Okay, so binary numbers, it is very difficult to remember, right? 4-bit combination. So in between you can put one underscore, so it will be escaped by the Verilog compiler. Underscore characters are allowed only to improve readability of numbers and are ignored by Verilog. It is not compulsory, optional one. Okay, so if you have a long sequence of ones and zeros, then it is better practice to have the underscore. Similarly, a question mark is the Verilog HDL alternative for Z in the context of numbers. Okay, instead of writing Z, even if you write question mark in the numbers, so it will understand it as a Z. So this question is used to enhance readability in the case X and case Z statements. We'll be seeing in behavioral description about this special variety of case statements. Okay, where the high impedance value is a don't care condition. Okay, so this it will consider it as, so Z will be considered as X, like that. So example here, so see here, there is a 12-bit binary number is there. To readability purpose, underscore is used every 4 bits. Okay, so just it improves the readability, easily you can mention. Then 4-bit 10, 2 question mark is there, which is equivalent to a 4-bit 10 ZZ. Okay, so instead of writing Z, question mark if you use in a numbers, it will treat it as a Z. Okay, so this is about the underscore characters and question mark. Next, string type. Strings we will be seeing. A string is a sequence of characters that are enclosed by double quotes. This you are seeing in C programs also, same way. The restriction on a string is that it must be contained on a single line, that is without a carriage return. That means it should not have a slash n, only in single line. It cannot be on multiple lines. Strings are treated as a sequence of 1 byte ASCII values. Okay, it is a sequence of 1 byte ASCII values. Each letter will have the ASCII equivalent. Example, hello Verilog world. Okay, so here space is treated as one character also. Okay, so this is how it is a string. So this is also, so operator is come here, but whatever character it is in between double quotes is called as a string. Okay, so this is an example for string. Next important thing is keywords and identifiers. As I told you, Verilog, we will be learning too much keywords in this language. For example, module we have used, end module we have used. So they are nothing but the language specific. Okay, so that Verilog HDL specific keywords. Okay, so keywords how we define are special identifiers reserved to define the language constructs. Okay, to define module we have written module there. To define the ports we are using input and output. To define the data types we are using wire and register, seen in the previous one. Okay, so similarly to describe behavioral description, always initial we are using. Okay, to describe the boolean statement assign we are using. Okay, like that many such keywords we are using, and they are special identifiers reserved to define the language constructs, and all these are in lowercase letters. Okay, identifiers are nothing but names given to objects so that they can be referenced in the design. Okay, so this will be user specified. As I told you, module name anything you can give. Okay, if you are writing a half header program, half header, and gate you can give gate. Okay, so the names, even you can name your name also you can give. So that is nothing but an identifier. Okay, identifier to that program. Identifiers are made up of a alphanumeric characters, the underscore or the dollar sign. Okay, so in identifiers, you can use, along with names you can use numbers also, and some underscore and dollar sign also you can use. But how you use identifiers are again case sensitive, and identifier starts with an alphabetic character or an underscore. It can start with underscore and a character, but dollar sign should not be there, because dollar sign has a special significance we will be learning in next videos. It is a this one. Okay, system directives. Okay, we'll be learning that next. They cannot start with a digit or a dollar sign. So numbers you could not use 0 to 9, and dollar sign you could not use. Okay, underscore and alphabets you can use. This is about the identifiers. We have example here. So for your reference I have made it color. Register value, input clock, like that we are writing. So in this, register and input is nothing but a keyword. Okay, so even when you are writing a program in a any HDL tool, if they provide, so normally these keywords will come in some different color. Okay, so that to identify by you, in case if you have made any language mistakes there, one spelling mistake, you will come across that. Okay, and whatever names you are giving here, value, CLK, these are nothing but the identifiers. Okay, hope it is clear, keywords and identifiers. Escaped identifiers, some additional topic. Escaped identifiers begin with the backslash, okay, character, and ends with white space. It may be space, tab, or a new line. Okay, all characters between backslash and white space are processed literally. Okay, any printable ASCII character can be included in escaped identifiers. Neither the backslash nor the terminating white space is considered to be part of the identifier. Okay, for example, a plus b minus c, as it is, it should be printed. Then you can put a slash and a space. Similarly, this my name. Okay, you need to put some, okay, as it is there. So just you can put a escaped identifiers in that. Okay, so this is about the lexical conventions. Okay, to summarize what we have gone through so far. White spaces, comments, operators, number specification, keywords and identifier, and strings. These are the lexical conventions. In white space, we have seen blank spaces, tabs, and new lines. And white spaces are ignored generally, but not in strings. Clear? Then comments are one line comment starts with double slash, more than one starts with hash star and ends with star hash. Okay. Operators, we have seen three types: unary, binary, and ternary. Okay, the same examples considered here. Then number specifications, we have gone through detailedly. Sized numbers, size, base format, and then number. Okay, unsized number, so number without base format or size. Okay, then X or Z values we have considered, and then negative numbers we have seen how to represent that. Okay, so this number specification is something different from the C programming language. Remaining all looks like same, and some of the operators that we are using, it is different. Okay, then keywords and identifiers. Okay, the same example we considered, the language construct. To explain the language constructs, we used that. Identifier is nothing but to identify that object or module. Okay, So we'll be using that. String, sequence of characters enclosed in double quotes. Okay, so this is it. One more escaped identifies that much. So this is about the lexical conventions. Okay, so hope it is I am not fast or I am not slow. In case if you have not understood any concept, so go back and you can watch the video. Okay, so today it is enough. So in the next video we'll be looking at the value set and data types. Okay, thank you.